I wish that I could have knocked him out at the start. But as we saw, I didn't want to put him down early. You all know I was handcuffed. I don't want to say anything that I will be regretting in the future. But all I can say now is the first 20 seconds was enough for me to end Jake Paul.
I don't know if enough has been made of the fact that, I mean, it was absolutely devastating. But the fact that he had awareness immediately to go like he looked at the crowd like, oh, shit. Like, wow.
He goes,
it wasn't like,
cracked.
yeah.
I think he went into that fight knowing that was probably going to happen.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the big win for him would be that he was even willing to do it and that he could do well for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually just deal with the fact that Anthony Joshua is going to connect with a bomb.
Yeah.
And breaks his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah.
Jake has spirit. He has some heart. He tried his best. And I take my hat off to him because, number one, a lot of fighters haven't got in the ring with me and Jake did. And secondly, even when he got knocked down, he kept on trying to get up. And I take my hat off to him.
When you really pause and take a step back to look at this fight, something feels off. It doesn't move like a normal boxing match, and that's exactly
telling me that Netflix probably emphasized, listen guys, take this as long as you can.
So the bottom line is nothing from this. It was an entertainment product designed to get Netflix
But last week you said it wasn't scripted.
I think that ultimately Anthony Joshua's approach to it was what I said. What I said was...
Now you're telling us Netflix passed on a message, guys.
No, Netflix's modus operandi is to operate with this kind of principle, which is stretch the entertainment. Anthony Joshua goes in. I framed the question to these boys that have been in the ring. Could he go in there on an under-aroused mindset because he knows what he's dealing with? No. He goes in as a killer. He went in there with a mindset, knowing what he was dealing with, and took his reason to do anything other than get him out of there when he...
You start catching the small details first, like that tongue-out gesture Jake did in the Tyson fight, and then he does it again here. Suddenly people start asking, wait, is this a habit or some kind of signal? That's when whispers start.
Criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Why?
Like, we're elite fighters. Like, so I put myself in the shoes of a coach. If I was coaching Anthony Joshua and he went 6 rounds with Jake Paul, I would get him back in the gym tomorrow, give a beating, and we're getting straight back to work because I'll be like, how are you letting this kid take you 6 rounds? Are you crazy? But I can't go back in time.
And honestly, it makes sense when you think about it. Netflix doesn't do quick endings. They do long builds, slow burns, episode tension, cliffhangers, and dramatic pauses. Very, are you still watching?
Out the ring with the cornerman, slipped out of the ring and he thought, wow, this is for real. And even a little jab that just gently missed him, you could see him thinking, what is this about? So it was a case of survival. And to me, I didn't want Anthony Joshua to knock him out, if I'm honest with you. I thought, you've got to make this kid have a reality check. And that's what he himself said. I was shattered. You know, this guy, everything I thought I could do, I couldn't do. Boxing looks so easy on the TV. Boxing looks so, matter of fact, no big deal. Until you get punched and then reality kicks in. And Jake Paul, he has done a brilliant job.
Maybe that approach worked before, because let's be real, Tyson felt like he stayed within the plan. Joshua though? Different mindset, different personality. AJ doesn't binge watch. He clocks in, handles business, and clocks out. So if there was a script, he probably skimmed it, nodded, and tossed it.
I have to be honest, the vibes are way more chill than I thought. He's doing great. How are you feeling?
Never better.
Yeah, he's absolutely crushing it.
Bring out the vodka.
Yeah, we're doing great in here. Lights, a double break in his lower jaw.
Oh, you can show.
Here, look.
Science.
So science is right there and there. The way I see it, well, you'll be back in a couple weeks getting ready to fight Canelo.
Canelo in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So Canelo, get ready. We're coming.
And that's the funniest part of all this. If this was supposed to be scripted, boxing clearly didn't get the message. Heavyweights don't rehearse. One guy tried to perform, the other brought raw physics, and Netflix learned the same lesson
by Anthony Joshua the past Friday night. And so I want to break this down from a medical perspective. I'm a neurosurgeon with over years of experience. And so, what happens is when you get in the head with that kind of force, like in boxing, our brain actually moves inside our skull and it can bump into the skull, which is a firm structure, and cause bruising of the brain, even bleeding, but it causes repeated, and over years it's happening, people can get what's called chronic traumatic encephalopathy or CTE syndrome. And it's almost like a disease because with repeated trauma to the brain, and that can lead to memory problems, mood swings, even trouble with movements, and eventually people can develop dementia, Alzheimer's disease, and even Parkinson's disease.
Right after all the script talk, tongue theories, and Netflix season speculation, Eddie Hearn steps in sounding like the only guy who actually read the contract and checked the clock. I'm listening and thinking, yeah, this is the calmest voice of the night. Eddie's basically saying, everyone relax. AJ wasn't chasing a viral moment.
This is how it's going to be. I'll just cut him off eventually. I'll beat him up and I'll break him down. What he said he would do is he would break him down and he would, well, finish him in boxing. And he's probably done both of those. I mean, definitely did the first part. But the injury is a shocker, and it's not one that you can necessarily bounce back from. Like, I know that at the moment it's like, yeah, but especially when you're not, where you've got lots of other stuff in your life as well, you know? So, but I think Jake Paul deserves a huge amount of respect because he did it in the first place. And he landed some shots.
Intro 7. What I respect is how honest Eddie is about Jake. No hype, no clickbait praise, just fairness. Jake moved well. Jake survived. Jake even landed a couple of clean right hands from the clouds, and AJ ate them like it was part of a warm-up.
He would have gone, look! Yeah, but yeah, so I don't believe he won any rounds on the scorecards, but listen, maybe he did, I don't know. But he definitely didn't wobble AJ, but he did land. He landed his biggest shots. Yeah. A couple of, you know, like right hands from the gods, but he's just not big enough. He doesn't punch hard enough to you know, I'm sure it got his attention, but he certainly wasn't wobbled. But he did really well. And by the way, people moaning, like I think it was Sergio Mora, who, listen, I love Sergio, but he's like, he's a disgrace. Like he ran. It's like, mate, what? Yeah. Like he also held his feet and threw. He didn't not throw any punches.
Funniest moment might be Eddie apologizing for looking smug, which is wild because people aren't mad that AJ won. They're mad it didn't end fast enough to feel safe. Eddie wraps it up cleanly without stealing focus. Jake earned respect for stepping in. AJ earned respect for staying patient. And the internet earned another full...
I've said in every interview, full respect to Jake Paul. And you know, I think what he done was admirable. So I would like to apologise to Mrs. Paul. I didn't intentionally look smug. I wasn't... I couldn't have been smug because it didn't play out like I thought it was going to play out. I thought we were just going to flatline him in a couple of rounds. So there's nothing to be smug about, but we won. And
then, right after Eddie brings that calm, accountant with a punch clock energy, Antonio Tarver steps in sounding like the veteran who's already seen this movie 100 times. I'm listening and nodding because he's not disrespecting Jake, but he's definitely not...
Though he wasn't as effective as he probably wanted to be, and I knew there was a distance between spirit, and that's just what we saw tonight.
How long do you think it would take for Jake Paul to spend in a boxing gym to overcome that experience that he didn't have tonight? How long would he need to train?
I don't know. He probably got to still keep picking his opponents. But like I said, bro, when I looked at tonight, AJ was a huge fight. But if they want to really shoot a movie, bro, it's Antonio Tarver and Jake Paul, and I know the whole world knows that, bro.
Tarver says you can't just run forever. That line lands because it's boxing law, not opinion. You can buy time, you can steal rounds, but eventually the ring gets smaller and experience cashes in. I also like how he frames AJ, no pretending this was some all-time training camp. This was a professional doing his job against a guy who refused